Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News. The weather on WLR.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead Aherne. Today's top stories: Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and the Greens have begun selling the programme for government deal to their members. A new tourism campaign focusing on domestic visitors has been launched in Waterford. A Waterford publican says reducing social distancing from 2 metres to 1 metre will be crucial for many pubs. And in sport, Alan Reynolds says he would have liked to have stayed on at Waterford FC. The battle lines are being drawn in the debate on the programme for government. Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and the Greens have begun selling the deal to their members. Here's our political correspondent, Sean Defoe.
With the parliamentary parties having agreed on the deal, it's now gone to party memberships and the process of selling it is well underway. The main concerns are around the Green Party. Last night, TD and negotiating team member Nasa Hourigan told Virgin Media her concerns.
Just for me, I wasn't able to give it its full endorsement because I cannot set aside the housing issues and the issues around, the economy.
But Green leader Eamon Ryan says the economic strategy is there to achieve the climate goals in the plan.
The economic strategy seems to me clear, and I don't hear many dissenting voices from the economics community or elsewhere, or indeed other political parties.
Tomorrow the Greens will hold a marathon online conference for members that's been described as electric picnic for the Greens by one TD. In the other parties, Young Fine Gael has rejected the deal, expressing concerns about Fine Gael's identity being lost in a government with Fianna Fáil, while some Fianna Fáil councillors in Wexford, Tipperary and Galway have all come out strongly against the deal. However, it's still thought their views are in a minority in those parties. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
The Waterford man who will fill the vacant seat on Waterford City and County Council says reviving the economy will begin on our doorstep. Frank Quinlan was announced over the weekend as Fine Gael's replacement for Senator John Cummins. Frank's well known most recently for raising €16,000 for Waterford charities by running 21 half marathons in 21 days. He says that Waterford, like other parts, is facing huge challenges, but he believes in focusing locally.
Look, it's going to be a very, very tough time for everyone. I would like to see the airport open up, I think, because the infrastructure, the university won't happen unless we have an airport. The North Keys won't happen unless we have an airport. So, at the moment, it is a tough time, but people have to stay positive. They have to kind of encourage each other. They have to help each other, and they have to shop local, spend local, and encourage each other as much as possible.
Frank Quinlan says he's looking forward to representing people in Waterford.
I can relate to so many people in Waterford. It's a big change in my life. I can relate to so many people in Waterford. I'm as ordinary as anyone else in Waterford. I feel I have a lot to offer. I have great energy. I'm extremely positive. And it's just a great opportunity to have the voice for people in Waterford on the ground.
There were no new cases of COVID-19 in Waterford. The total figure since the outbreak began stands at 154 up to midnight on Sunday. As of 8 o'clock last night, there was one patient with COVID-19 on site at University Hospital Waterford, with a further 2 patients awaiting the results of testing. More than 1,000 flights to and from Beijing have been cancelled as authorities try to control rising numbers of coronavirus cases. Just over 100 have been recorded in recent days. The new outbreak is thought to have started in a fish market. Sky's Tom Cheshire is in the Chinese capital and says restrictions are being tightened.
It's not a Wuhan-style lockdown, but flights have been restricted. People have been told not to leave Beijing. If they have to leave Beijing, they have to do a COVID-19 test. Also, other cities and places around China imposing quarantines on people arriving from Beijing.
A new tourism campaign encouraging people to holiday in Waterford this summer has been launched. You're invited, come and see. Will focus on domestic visitors and will be promoted on national TV, radio, print and social media. Tina Dowers from Dooley's Hotel in Waterford City.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic for hotels. It's going to promote Waterford as a destination to the domestic market, and we're really looking forward to that. We're hoping to have Irish visitors to Waterford City and County, and it means a huge amount to us.
She says they'll be competing with other places in Ireland this summer.
We'll have no international tourism for the remainder of the year, and it is pushing staycations. I know we're up against every other destination, but we're very fortunate that there is a budget there to promote Waterford, and we hope to welcome as many visitors to this city and county.
Tina Dowers says Waterford has so much to offer.
We have a wealth of areas and destination within Waterford. You know, we have the beaches, we have open spaces, the mountains, the Cumras, Tramore, Anstown. So we have loads of space, and I think that's what people are looking for, that they have open space and that they'll feel safe. And I think Waterford has all of that.
The Vintners Federation of Ireland is welcoming the news that social distancing could be reduced in restaurants and pubs that serve food. However, it's understood customers will only be allowed to stay for 90 minutes and they must pre-book. Customers will also have to spend at least €9 on a substantial meal. Helena Goff, owner of the local bar in Dungarvan, told Damien Tiernan on Daisha today that reducing social distancing from 2 metres to 1 metre will be crucial for many pubs.
They don't really know what's working and what's not working, but I do hope that it will go from 2 metres to 1 metre by the time the hospitality industry opens, because you know what my pub is like and it's narrow and it'll cause massive problems for everybody, whether you have a big pub or a small pub. In fairness to the government and all the health, it is changing day by day. They're doing their best.
Mortgage lending rules have ensured people haven't borrowed the same levels as before the financial crisis. That's the view of the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, as uncertainty surrounds the housing market after the COVID-19 shutdown. People can only borrow 3.5 times their annual income, while there's also a limit on the percentage of the value of the property an individual can borrow. Sharon Donnery from the Central Bank says the rules are important and are due to be reviewed later in the year.
Now we can really see the benefit of the rules which have been in place for the last few years, because borrowers haven't kind of borrowed at the levels that would have happened before the crisis, in terms of having mortgages that are 4, 5, 6 times their income, for example. So I think the rules are very important. We review them every autumn and we will do the review this year.
Almost 2/3 of children who were treated in hospital for drug and alcohol-related illnesses last year were girls. According to Freedom of Information figures, 1,026 kids were hospitalised with these issues in 2019. In the South-South-West Hospital Group, which University Hospital Waterford falls under, 41 children were treated were less than 9 years old, while 148 were aged 10 to 17. The conditions include drug or alcohol poisoning, a mental disorder due to substance misuse, and newborn children affected by their mother's use of drugs or alcohol. Dr. Ciara Martin, a consultant paediatrician with Children's Health Ireland, is not surprised that girls are presenting more than boys.
The girls do tend to drink higher. Anecdotally, we think they tend to drink spirits more when they're out with their friends, so they would tend to drink stronger alcohol, vodkas or that kind of alcohol. And as a group, they would then present perhaps more often to the emergency departments.
A temporary swimming ban is in place on Clonea Beach in County Waterford. There's a risk of contamination following an emergency overflow from the sewage system. Waterford Council has issued a temporary bathing prohibition until the water quality can be verified. They say it'll take around 2 days. And another status yellow rainfall warnings in place for Waterford. Met Éireann's forecasting heavy showers and isolated thunderstorms in places from today until the early hours of Friday morning. There's a risk of torrential downpours, localised flooding and hazardous driving conditions. The forecaster says a more prolonged and widespread period of heavy rain will occur later tomorrow.
Sports News on WLR.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Want super fast broadband today? Drop into Virgin Media George's Street and take it home with you. Easy as that.
Starting with soccer, where the former Waterford FC manager says he would have liked to have stayed with the club. Alan Reynolds announced yesterday that he's parted ways after 3 years in charge. Players and management were told they were laid off at the start of May by email. Alan Reynolds told Damien Tiernan on Daisha today that there was no communication in the 4 months since football stopped.
There's no problem with the cuts. Everyone across the country is doing it, so that wasn't an issue. But you just got to tell me and leave me go back to the players, and the players have been more than happy. So I was really disappointed with that. That's not how I would do it. You know, you have to make difficult calls, difficult decisions, and be man enough to do that. You know, everyone wants to make the good ones of telling people how great and or you're getting a rise or you're this, but these are the ones you're paid to do. And for me, if you run a club or own a club, you have to make those calls.
He says they gave it everything.
For the last 3.5 years, and this is Franny Rocket, right the way through, we put everything we've got into this, and that's what disappoints you, to go, do you know what, your family suffer, friends, everyone suffers, that you give so much to it, and to be treated like that, that's, you know, it's a real kick in the teeth.
Across Channel, there's a Premier League double-header to restart the season tonight. Champions Manchester City host Arsenal at 8:15, needing to avoid defeat to stay in the title race with Liverpool. Before that, there'll be plenty of Irish interest when Sheffield United face Aston Villa at Villa Park. The Villains are second from bottom after their 4-0 defeat to Leicester City in the last match in the Premier League before the season was halted. Villa boss Dean Smith believes the 14-week break will be a benefit to his side.
The break certainly will help us and our chances of staying in this league, simply because, you know, we we'd had a heavy beating at Leicester. We hadn't played well, certainly in that second half, and confidence was low. Now we've been able to rebuild that confidence, rebuild the mentality within the squad, and we will take that onto the pitch now.
The first game kicks off at 6. While in horse racing, the Aidan O'Brien trained Japan is set to go off as favourite for the Prince of Wales Stakes. The Day 2 feature at Royal Ascot, that goes to post at 3. The going is good for the first of 7 races behind closed doors. That's at 1:15. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford. WLR asks you to stay safe by keeping your distance. Our next bulletin is at 2.